The history of the United States Navy SEALs is a chronicle of silent professionalism, extreme endurance, and the mastery of the world's most unforgiving environments. Long before the modern operators became known for their precision strikes and counter-terrorism missions, their origins were forged in the chaotic waters of World War II. When the Allied forces realized they needed to clear heavily fortified enemy beaches before major amphibious landings, the Navy created the Amphibious Scout and Raider School, followed by the Naval Combat Demolition Units, NCDUs, and the Underwater Demolition Teams, UDTs. These early frogmen swam into hostile waters armed with little more than swim trunks, dive masks, and explosives. They cleared the way at Normandy, Tarawa, and Iwo Jima, operating in the gray zone between land and sea, establishing a legacy of maritime special operations that would only grow in the decades to follow. As the Cold War escalated and global threats shifted from conventional battlefields to unconventional conflicts, President John F. Kennedy recognized the need for a highly specialized, versatile maritime force capable of conducting guerrilla warfare and clandestine operations. In January 1962, the Navy SEALs were officially established. The acronym SEAL stood for the environments in which they were trained to operate: sea, air, and land. Drawn entirely from the ranks of the UDTs, the first two teams, SEAL Team 1 on the West Coast and SEAL Team 2 on the East Coast, began intensive training to master unconventional warfare, counter-guerrilla tactics, and direct action missions. Their baptism by fire came shortly after in the dense jungles and winding rivers of Vietnam. There, the SEALs earned a fearsome reputation, heavily disrupting enemy supply lines and conducting ambushes with such lethal efficiency that the enemy reportedly dubbed them the Men with Green Faces due to their face paint camouflage. The foundation of every SEAL is built on the sands of Coronado, California, during basic underwater demolition, SEAL, BUD-S training. It is widely considered the most grueling military training program in the world. Over the course of 6 months, candidates are pushed to the absolute limits of human physical and mental endurance. The crucible of BUD-S is Hell Week, a 5.5-day stretch where candidates sleep a total of about 4 hours while constantly running, swimming, carrying heavily loaded boats on their heads, and performing physical conditioning in the freezing Pacific surf. The purpose of this brutal regimen is not simply to build physical strength, but to test mental fortitude and forge an unbreakable brotherhood. It strips away the ego and leaves only the team. Only a fraction of those who volunteer ever make it to graduation to earn the coveted special warfare insignia known as the Trident. Following Vietnam, the SEALs continued to evolve, adapting to the rise of global terrorism in the late 20th century. Following the failed Iranian hostage rescue mission in 1980, the United States recognized a critical gap in its dedicated counter-terrorism capabilities. Under the leadership of Commander Richard Marcinko, SEAL Team 6 was formed. This highly classified unit, later known as the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, or DEVGRU, was tasked specifically with hostage rescue, close-quarters combat, and high-value target elimination. For decades, they operated in the shadows, executing missions in Grenada, Panama, Somalia, the Balkans, and eventually the Middle East. Following the attacks of the 11th of September, 2001, the global war on terror propelled the SEALs into an unprecedented era of operational tempo. For the next decade, operators deployed continuously to the mountains of Afghanistan and the urban battlefields of Iraq. But the ultimate target, the architect of the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden, remained elusive. For years, the CIA painstakingly tracked down leads, interrogated detainees, and followed the slimmest threads of intelligence. The breakthrough finally came not through intercepting a phone call or spotting the man himself, but by identifying his most trusted courier, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. The global war on terror propelled the SEALs into an unprecedented era of operational tempo. For the next decade, operators deployed continuously to the mountains of Afghanistan and the urban battlefields of Iraq. But the ultimate target, the architect of the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden, remained elusive. For years, the CIA painstakingly tracked down leads, interrogated detainees, and followed the slimmest threads of intelligence. The breakthrough finally came, not through intercepting a phone call or spotting the man himself, but by identifying his most trusted courier, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. In early 2011, President Barack Obama was presented with a set of military options to deal with the compound. A massive airstrike was considered, but it would have caused civilian casualties and potentially destroyed any DNA evidence required to confirm bin Laden's death. The president opted for a riskier but more precise approach, a helicopter raid conducted by the elite operators of DevGrew's Red Squadron. The mission was codenamed Operation Neptune Spear. For weeks, the selected SEALs rehearsed the raid on full-scale mock-ups of the Abbottabad compound, built in heavily restricted areas in Nevada and North Carolina. Every angle, every door, and every contingency was planned. They trained for a rapid insertion, a methodical clearing of the buildings, the securement of intelligence, and a swift exfiltration. The political and military stakes were astronomical. Crossing into sovereign Pakistani airspace without permission meant that if the mission failed, or the team was captured, it would be an international disaster. On the moonless night of the 1st of May 2011, the operation was set into motion. Two highly modified stealth Black Hawk helicopters, designed to evade radar and muffle the sound of their rotors, lifted off from a forward operating base in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, carrying 23 SEALs, a Pakistani-American translator, and a Belgian Malinois combat dog named Cairo. The helicopters flew low through the treacherous mountain valleys, slipping undetected into Pakistani airspace. The flight took roughly 90 minutes. In the White House Situation Room, the president and his national security team watched in tense silence, receiving updates via secure communications. As the helicopters approached the target in Abbottabad, the plan immediately hit a critical snag. The lead helicopter, designated Chalk 1, experienced a hazardous aerodynamic condition known as vortex ring state. The high walls of the compound disrupted the rotor's downwash, causing the helicopter to lose, lift, and rapidly drop. With exceptional skill, the pilot managed to avoid a catastrophic crash, bringing the heavy aircraft down hard into the compound's animal pen. The tail rotor clipped the wall, disabling the multi-million-dollar stealth helicopter permanently. Despite the violent landing, none of the operators were seriously injured. The element of surprise was partially lost, but the SEALs reacted with instantaneous, trained precision. Abandoning the original plan of dropping operators onto the roof, the team from Chalk 1 immediately breached the external walls and pushed toward the main guest house and the primary 3-story building. Meanwhile, Chalk 2 landed outside the compound walls, deploying its team and the combat dog to establish a security perimeter and prevent local police or neighbors from interfering. The assaulters moved methodically but swiftly, utilizing suppressed weapons and night vision goggles. They breached the guest house, where they encountered and killed the courier, Al-Kuwaiti, after he opened fire. Moving to the main building, the SEALs blew the locked doors and began clearing the first floor, neutralizing Al-Kuwaiti's brother, who was also armed. As the operators moved up the narrow staircases to the 2nd and 3rd floors, they encountered women and children, whom they quickly and physically moved out of the line of fire. On the staircase, they encountered and killed bin Laden's adult son, Khalid, who had lunged toward them with a weapon. The point man of the stack finally reached the 3rd floor. As he cleared the top of the stairs, a tall figure peered out from a doorway before quickly retreating back into the bedroom. The SEALs pushed forward, bursting into the room. Inside, they found Osama bin Laden, accompanied by 2 women. Recognizing the target immediately, the operators engaged. Bin Laden was shot and killed instantly. With the primary target neutralized, the atmosphere shifted from an assault to a rapid intelligence-gathering operation. The SEALs had roughly 30 minutes before the Pakistani military, whose military academy was located just miles away, would inevitably arrive. They swept the compound, bagging hard drives, computers, flash drives, notebooks, and cell phones, a treasure trove of Al-Qaeda intelligence that would prove invaluable in the years to come. Simultaneously, an explosive ordnance disposal (EOD) specialist rigged the downed stealth Black Hawk with thermite grenades and explosives. The United States could not allow the highly classified aviation technology to fall into the hands of foreign intelligence. As the operators boarded the remaining helicopter and a backup Chinook that had flown in to extract them, the radio crackled with the historic transmission directed to Admiral William McRaven, the commander of the Joint Special Operations Command. The voice of the ground commander stated, "For God and country, Geronimo, Geronimo, Geronimo." Geronimo was the code word indicating that the target had been found. After a brief pause, he added, "Geronimo Ekia, enemy killed in action." The helicopters lifted off, leaving the burning wreckage of Chalk 1 behind them, and flew back across the border into Afghanistan. The mission had taken exactly 38 minutes. Not a single American life was lost. The body of Osama bin Laden was flown to an aircraft carrier, the USS Carl Vinson, where he was identified via DNA testing and subsequently buried at sea in accordance with Islamic tradition, ensuring no shrine could be built in his honor. Operation Neptune Spear stands as one of the most significant and flawless tactical raids in modern military history. It was the culmination of a decade of relentless intelligence work and the absolute zenith of special operations execution. For the United States Navy SEALs, It was a profound validation of their ethos. From the icy beaches of World War II to the darkest nights in the Middle East, they remained the silent professionals, stepping into the unknown, carrying the weight of a nation, and executing their mission with unyielding resolve.